Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr. Been a few days. Thanks for sticking with me, if you are. We're looking at a lot of things tonight. We're looking at Syria, we're looking at Trump's day one. But first, a note of optimism. We have not yet reached the shortest day of the year. It's always around the 21st. But we have reached the earliest sunset of the year. My wife pointed that out to me. I believe it was Saturday, a big day. Yeah, that's what you notice. So in that sense, sunset is happening a tiny bit later each day ever since Saturday. So it will appear that the days are getting longer, even though they're not. They're still getting shorter for another 11 days or so. Syria, big. We read that and we saw that the rebels quickly moved from Aleppo, that second city, all the way down to Damascus in under a week. And that seems crazy. It's a whole country, but really it was just, top to bottom and not all the way across it. But I looked it up. You can lose sense of the scale over there. It was only like 356 kilometers, I think it was, but about little over 200 miles, 220 miles, something like that. Like here to Austin. And so, yes, a week is lightning fast for a country to fall, but you're talking about 200 miles that they've covered, and there just was no resistance. A lot of sand, and Assad got the heck out, which is good. He was a madman. He was terrible. He was diabolical. He was pure evil. He had Russian jets bomb his own people, his own buildings, his own apartments, his own men, women, and children, poison gas. Russia was willing to help him out however they could. And this is good from our perspective against Russia, that they have a naval base there on the west coast of Syria that just touches the Mediterranean. That's the Soviet Union's only direct access or only direct base on the Mediterranean. So presumably they would lose access to that. No word yet. So that's good. They stage a lot of air support. It's actually an airfield there, and it's on the Mediterranean, an Air Force base. But they're only military base on the Mediterranean. They do stage a lot of air power from there down into Africa, among other places, and anywhere else they want. So now the Soviets, wow, the Russians will have to go all the way around the long way to get to the Mediterranean. It is just huge, huge good. And Iran is really set back. They would come all the way across. They just had free reign. They were allies with Assad. They could get their arms, their support, their material to Hezbollah over in Lebanon whenever they wanted to. And from there, they could terrorize Israel. So just the fall of Syria. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, but their new leader is saying all the right things. He used to be aligned with ISIS. He got out of there years ago. He's saying the right things about protecting Christians and protecting other communities, other versions or other sects, Muslim sects that are not his own. So that's good. I think all of this is good. And of course, let's tie Trump into this. Trump says, not our war. We need to stay out of this. This is not our fight. It has nothing to do with us, because he knows that if we were to engage, it would be against Russia. Israel is under no such constraints. They just pounded targets within Syria immediately, military and weapons and all sorts of targets. So just totally debilitated their military and their ability to terrorize Israel and other places that Iran would want terrorized. So this is all good, in my opinion. We'll see how it plays out over the coming weeks and months with this leader. Trump got more specific about his day one activities. He's got about 25 executive orders he's going to sign, and these were unnamed sources. That has some details about his administration. He wants to be able to arrest people, even if they have no criminal records, to deport them. He wants to get rid of birthright citizenship, the long-standing principle that if you are born in this country, of course you are a citizen of this country, would be out the window for immigrant families who are, I guess, undocumented. To rebuild the wall starting on day one. Some of these things he can just do at the stroke of a pen. Others are going to require congressional approval if they cost money. And all of this will cost money, but to the degree that certain dollar thresholds are met, may or may not need Congress's approval. But not all is lost, because Congress won't approve all of it. And even if they do get around to approving all or most of it, they're not going to do it on day one. There will be court challenges also. So before any of it, or before some of it can be, most of it can be enacted, hopefully it can be held up in the courts, things that need to be held up into the courts. Even things like the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, no, the Department of State, that's it, that they are going to review all their hires and see if any were done with regard to gender or things like that, anything other than merit. Now, I didn't see what would happen if hires were made. They're going to review all the hires, I guess. So you would think that would be great news for someone like me, a white male who is a U.S. citizen, but I've never been happy about this. I've always supported the concept or the objective of affirmative action and those types of programs because I've seen it firsthand, the impact that things can have. When you're talking about, for instance, a run-of-the-mill corporate job, one of the companies I worked at, it was a telecom company. We'll get more specific and say a Canadian telecom company. This is over 20 years ago, but I was in the FP&A, the Financial Planning and Analysis Department. It's a bunch of white people, like it almost always is, and some Asian people there too. And before that, I was at an internet company in downtown Dallas. Now, this company was based in Colorado. Colorado, at the time, late 90s, had rights for, you didn't have to, like your spouse, that you might have health insurance or things that spouses have. Well, Colorado had a law because they were friendly to same-sex couples that would give benefits to your partner, even if you weren't married, if you were the same sex even. And that was not happening in Texas. But this company was based in Colorado, so when they opened a big office in downtown Dallas, it's not a company probably anyone has ever heard of. They were bought long ago by other companies. They had those same rights and protections that they would have enjoyed in Colorado. So some gay people applied and were hired, and a lot of their friends were also gay. So soon enough, there were a number of other gay people there, and I hadn't worked with openly gay people before. Again, this is the late 90s. But that's who they were friends with. They didn't hire them because they were gay, but if they knew someone, a friend of a friend or something, chances are maybe that person would be more likely to be gay. Same with the African-American manager. I believe he was a director of FP&A, came into the group at Nortel, and he had a guy that had worked with him at a previous stop, happened to be African-American also. They were amazing. But you had a black person hiring another black person because he knew him and he had worked with him before. So that this is why, and I hope I'm not being controversial. I hope this is common sense, that people hire people that they get along with, or that they have worked before, or that th're friends with. It's just human nature. you would be smart to do that. If you, rather than just going off a piece of paper, a person you've never heard of, a person you know nothing about, and they somehow have 3 years or 5 years or 20 years of their whole professional life on a page or two, and you're supposed to have a conversation with them and deduce whether or not they're going to be a good fit for your company for years to come. It's almost impossible. It's an impossible ask. If you have someone you personally know, you know they're dedicated, you know they're smart, you know they get along with people, and they are qualified to do the job. They may not be as qualified on paper as someone else who you don't know, but if they are qualified to do the job, then why not give people a chance? And that provides opportunities for other people that aren't white or that aren't males that might not get a chance because they're just not running in those same circles. And I've never had a problem with that concept. Trump does. It's kind of what he ran on and what the whole Republican Party stands for. Like I said, it would make life easier for me when I find myself looking for a job again, but I have no interest in that. I want this society to be bringing in all the qualified workers, no matter race or gender or sexual orientation. And the more diversity you have, the bigger the pool grows to choose from, because you just know more people. So not really sure how I got off on this tangent. Oh, it's Trump's day one stuff. He wants to get rid of all that. Of course he does. And then finally, a quick note on my brother-in-law passing away. That was my video Sunday morning. The comments, I didn't reply to most of them. I've been busy, but I did. They were really meaningful and they meant a lot to me. A lot of you people who watch the channel here, I feel like I know you. I wouldn't, maybe I get a little snippet of a picture of you and a profile, maybe some of you, but mostly the names. But some of them I just felt like I could know who wrote them without even looking at the name. So that's very touching. I did pass those on to my wife and family, and so thank you for that support. And that's really about it. Just wanted to come on and say a quick hello and let you all know what I'm thinking about. I would say Trump day one is, it's a little over a month away. Still not a lot we can do except for be aware of it. And then the Syria thing is rapidly evolving, and it is rapidly impacting Russia, rapidly impacting Iran, and terrorist groups. So that's pretty awesome. And then the other thing is with the, I guess you would say, the direction. It's the direction of the channel. I don't really want to talk about that right now. Other than to say ratings continue to be down for networks. I watched this guy, I saw a video of his name's David Pakman, I believe, and he's just some independent YouTuber. Liberal guy, left-leaning guy, very left-leaning guy. But he was mentioning ratings for MSNBC and CNN continuing to get pummeled, like half of what they were, and Fox News not dinged at all. And that was certainly the case a week or two, and I talked about that. It's continued in that way. Fox News keeps cranking out the fear and the hate, and they're not going to stop, because the people that watch that are not going to stop watching. I got a text when this verdict came down about, yesterday I got a text from someone when this verdict came down about the guy who choked someone to death on the subway in New York. And honestly, I hadn't kept up. I didn't really know what they were talking about at first. It was a name that was familiar with me, and they said there was a guilty, the guy was acquitted, and they were all happy, and justice was done. And then I quickly, really quickly, I'm not an expert on this case. What I saw was a guy was choked for several minutes. It was threatening other passengers and choked to death. Several minutes is a long time. It is a long time to have someone in a chokehold. That's all I'll say. If you're trying to kill someone, it might take a few minutes. If you're trying to restrain someone and they stop moving and they are apparently lifeless and you keep choking them, I would question what your true intention is. But dude was acquitted. I trust our judicial system. Sometimes gets it wrong, obviously. I don't know anything about this case other than that I saw a guy was choked to death by an ex-Marine and he choked him for several minutes. And then several minutes is a very, very long time to have someone in a chokehold or just to do anything. That was my immediate response. And, but of course, the person who sent me the text is a big Fox News watcher. So I had no idea about this case. I'm not watching this stuff. They do. This is clearly what Fox News is saying is news worthy from the acquittal perspective. So these people are keyed in all the time to all of the terrible stuff, and it's not going to stop. And people who supported Democrats that watched CNN and MSNBC have lost interest for the time being, understandably so. I myself can keep up with it tangentially. And when I do, it makes me crazy. So I look at other things. I look at international relations and stuff like that. It's interesting to me. Hopefully you guys are all staying sane as well. And I hope you all have a good night, and we'll talk later.